Hello there, my name is Robert Oncoy, English language educator, and I'd like to walk you through Week 8's welcome message. The outline for today's presentation is to first introduce you to the theme of the week, which is comparing countries. This theme will be very important for your Week 8 speaking task, which is giving a presentation. It's also very important because we're going to start looking at your Week 10 EOC writing exam, which is a compare and contrast essay. To support you with your learning outcomes, we're going to need to review the following key ideas: facts versus opinions, the task that I've asked you to do, that due date is on Tuesday night, noun phrases as a language point, as well as degrees of difference that we've covered in graph descriptions, and finally the language and vocabulary to support you for this week. Let's start with our theme. Now, after I'm done talking about this slide, feel free to click on this image here on the far right to watch a video about a man describing his visits in the Philippines. But for now, this is the theme of our week: comparing countries. So imagine that you guys are going to go on a trip, or you're going to go on a vacation outside of Vietnam. What is there to see and do? Well, that's the kind of question that guides most travelers before they book their airline ticket. They also have to ask themselves what's important to know about a place before they go there. Well, obviously you can't just go to a new country without any knowledge. You have to be aware of the good things as well as the bad things. Being a bit of a careful traveler, I like to know what kind of annoyances and dangers there are. For example, is pickpocketing a major issue? Do people tend to cheat? Are there people that steal purses or bags when you're walking on the street? It's also useful to know about the positive things, like what is there to see and do when I visit a new country. I want you to imagine that this is the way we're going to look at all the reading and writing for the week. You're going to travel. What do you want to know about a country? This is going to factor in to your Friday presentation, where I ask you to work as a travel company. Feel free to take a pause and click on this video to watch about the Philippines, and then come back to my presentation. Okay, welcome back. Let's move on. So, a key thing that you need to prepare for this week is to understand the difference between facts and opinions. This week, you're going to read about different people who are having a debate about which country is the best for hosting an Olympic or sports event. Naturally, they want to form an argument to convince the reader or the listener as to why their country or city is the best place to have at a sports event like the Olympics. Now, how do they make a strong argument? Is it a matter of only giving strong opinions? Or is it only dependent on giving facts? How do you build a good argument? What is the difference between opinions and facts? That's the question that I want you to ask yourself when you do this week's readings. Understanding this will help you understand how strong or weak an argument is. And this is highly connected to the EOC reading and writing exam, as well as the listening exam, when you need to understand the speaker and the author's ideas. Next, I mentioned writing already. Facts and opinions are important for your writing exam. So imagine once again that you work for a travel company and you want to encourage customers to come to one or both of the countries that you're selling tickets for. You need to start some form of an advertising campaign. Well, you might look at two countries and you want to attract the customer. How do we do this? Well, clearly, if you look at any travel guide, the best way to attract a customer is to give some pretty strong opinions. How do you support the argument? That's where you start sharing the facts. If you provide a logical and clear opinion, followed by facts to support that opinion, you have a strong argument. Now, I want you to keep this in mind because on Friday, Mr. David will ask you to prepare for an oral presentation where you compare and contrast two countries or two cities. I want you guys to have fun with this. And once again, I want you to pretend that you work for a travel company. Perhaps you have foreign and Vietnamese customers who want to go traveling in Vietnam or Singapore. Well, Prepare a presentation that looks at the good things of both countries, what is similar, and the good things of both countries that are different. Give your customers a choice and convince them that these two places are excellent for them to travel to, and help your company make some profit. This is also quite important because you will need to use the same kind of language in your final writing exam. So, this leads us to the pre-Wednesday task. Tuesday night is the deadline for the tasks that I've shared with you. I've also mentioned this in the Week 8 online learning activities Google Doc. To complete this task, you will actually need to do some research. So to get the facts to support your opinions, it's useful to use Wikipedia, and that's perfectly fine. I want you to find some factors that are similar between two countries or two cities, as well as some differences. Keep in mind that this should be interesting to someone who wants to go on a vacation. Complete the table that's on the original Google Doc and write a paragraph. This is due Tuesday night. That way I could check what language skills you need help with and to get you started on the new essay you have to master. If you need any grammar support, I will leave some links on the online learning activities for Week 8. Let's take a look at some grammar that's going to help you for your essay writing. Noun phrases. In short, noun phrases are a group of words that has the same functions of a noun in a sentence. For example, it could act like a subject or an object. In this sentence, the gerund, swimming, is followed by in the ocean. Swimming in the ocean here acts like the subject of the whole sentence. Here, the two adjectives and the noun, popular national sports, function as the object of this sentence. Noun phrases is going to be very important for you to understand and master when you do the Week 10 writing exam. Some students have difficulty with noun phrases. In fact, they try to write sentence fragment and a complex sentence, and the whole thing becomes very confusing to read. So noun phrases will be very important this week. Finally, as you are quite well aware, we looked at language for degrees of difference, in particular adverbs. When we look at this graph, we can compare how much this line had decreased and how much it increased. For example, sales slightly decreased. Here, decreased is the verb, slightly is the adverb. The adverb helps you understand how much of a decrease had happened. When we look at the second part of the graph, we can say there was a significant increase, or that sales significantly rose. We're going to continue using this language this week when we look at comparisons for similarities and contrasts for difference. Now, the two kinds of sentence structures we'll look at is something where something is exactly the same. For example, Vietnam is exactly the same as Cambodia. Okay, that's just an example. I know you probably don't think that's true. That's fine. Then the second kind of sentence structure we look at are for the range of similarity and differences. A is a bit, adjective er, than B. For instance, Singapore is a bit hotter than Vietnam. These grammar points are going to help you a lot with making supporting sentences in your compare and contrast essay. Finally, I need for you guys to go back and review language and vocabulary for opinion adjectives like quality, beauty, activities, as well as fact adjectives, for example, temperature, price, population, and poverty. What language supports these? To find some examples, you could turn to page 107 in your book. Organize these vocabulary words, these adjectives, and decide whether they're opinion or fact adjectives. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you very much for watching.